Rama continued, by reflecting on the pitiable fate of living beings thus fallen into the dreadful pit of sorrow, I am filled with grief. My mind is confused, I shudder, and at every step I am afraid. I have given up everything, but I have not established myself in wisdom. Hence I am partly caught and partly freed. I am like a tree that has been cut but not severed from its root. I wish to restrain my mind, but do not have the wisdom to do so. So Rama's in quite an interesting condition here. He's not enlightened, and he's not completely ignorant either of the nature of things. There's often a debate in certain traditions about enlightenment and paths and means to get to enlightenment. Enlightenment is seen as something that you travel to, that you get to, and therefore there must be a path to it. And some people, some traditions would say that you get there gradually. It can take a long time, or you can get there quite quickly, depending on which spiritual teachings you pursue. I mean, one extreme is the Buddhist bodhisattva teaching, which takes countless lifetimes to get to enlightenment. Aeons, in fact, aeons and aeons. Whereas within Buddhism also there are the so-called Vajrayana teachings, which can take you there very quickly. And in Zen Buddhism, enlightenment can be instantaneous. So that's a bit confusing, isn't it? Can enlightenment be instantaneous? Or does it take aeons to become enlightenment? And in fact, I think modern Buddhists, modern traditional Buddhists in places like Sri Lanka, don't even believe it's possible to be enlightened anymore. So what are we to make of all that? Well, I suppose it's a question of what you understand by enlightenment. And for me, enlightenment is tied in with what I was saying about spirituality before. Spirituality is to do with perception of reality. And we actually do perceive reality correctly. But the trouble is, we've built up all these ideas about it. And it's these ideas that we identify with as reality, rather than with what the actual experiencing is. So there's no doubt that it's possible to actually have spontaneous perception or of this experiencing that I'm talking about. And we could call that enlightenment when we're open to reality as it is, when we're open to direct experiencing, when the attention is not hijacked into extraneous objects, when we're not hypnotized by all these things which attract the attention to it, when the attention rests in itself, then this is enlightenment. Now some people would say, well, surely enlightenment is when you're like that all the time. But that's it's not possible to be like that all the time, because the attention does have to focus on other things sometimes. We have to direct the attention. But what happens is that even though we might be open to these direct perceptions of reality, this direct experiencing, our mind has still got this bundle of things that it's got a tendency to be attracted to. There's still a bundle of things which the attention is led astray by. And that is when we have to start our work, looking at the things which the mind gets hijacked by, looking at the things which the attention gets hijacked by, and looking at the nature of that hijacking as well. So this is a situation you may have had, or you may have been open to direct experiencing of things as they are, but then you lose it. And then you get caught up in various things, in various mental dramas, for example. And I would say this is Rama's condition. This is the condition he's in. He's got some understanding that all the things that we're conventionally taught to pursue and to value have no intrinsic meaning. So what do? You can't just go into a state of quietism or a state of catatonia. What do? This is Rama's predicament. Hence, pray tell me, what is that condition or state in which one does not experience any grief? How can one who is involved in the world and its activities, as I am, reach the supreme state of peace and bliss? What is that attitude that enables one not to be influenced by various kinds of activities and experience? Pray tell me, how do you people who are enlightened live in this world? How can the mind be freed from lust? And I think what he means by lust is what I was just talking about. Lust is this, is when the attention is driven to various notions or objects or situations. How can the mind be freed from lust and made to view the world both as one's own self and also as no more valuable than a blade of grass? These are two interesting alternatives, aren't they? How can the mind be made to view the world both as one's own self and also as no more valuable than a blade of grass? Well, the world, as we'll be finding out, and as might have been mentioned already, is basically like a dream. It's got as much value as a dream. And a dream is no more than our own self, is it? When we're dreaming, where do all these dreams come from? Do they come from outside? They're intrinsically rooted in ourself. And you could say the same thing about the whole of reality. It's got this dreamlike nature, and it's something that we construct from ourself on different levels, actually. And it's no more valuable than a blade of grass because it hasn't got any external intrinsic value. It's a construction. The biography of which great one shall we study in order to learn the path of wisdom? Because people have got there, people have crossed this world of samsara, they've got to the other shore, they've got to enlightenment, they've got to this essential understanding. How should one live in this world? Holy Sir, instruct me in that wisdom which will enable my otherwise restless mind to be steady like a mountain. This is it, the restless mind to be steady like a mountain. Talks about restless mind, and I prefer to talk about the attention. It's the attention which is going here and there and all over the place. Mind can seem like quite a nebulous notion, but if we're talking about attention, then we can clearly observe the attention at work as it flits from one thing to another. How can we rein in the attention? How can we take control of the attention, put it to where we want to put it, rather than let it be dragged by deep impulses or external influences here and there?